The ball being knocked out of play for a Saints throw-in over in front of the chicken run, and the ball had gone out into the crowd, and I remember going over to almost get the ball back again to restart the match, and somebody threw what I thought was the ball back towards me, and it turned out to be a raw chicken that landed at my feet. And
whilst I was on board my holiday on P&O cruise ship Ventura, I got the fantastic opportunity to speak to former Southampton player Francis Benali on an exclusive interview where we discussed horrible grounds to visit, his time at Southampton, and experiences against West Ham. All of that is in this interview, so without further ado, I'm going to play the interview, enjoy it, and yeah, I will see you at the end. This is an interview with former Southampton player Francis Benali. Yes, people, welcome back to West Ham Unofficial. A very special show today. I'm on P&O cruise ship Ventura, and I've grabbed Francis Benali for a chat. Former Southampton player. Francis, how are you?
very good, Jake. Yeah, really good to meet you here today, and nice to be sat here ready to take some questions from you. I'm interested being obviously a Saints connection, but what West Ham angle you might come from.
Yeah, brilliant. Just before we get into it though, check out our channel sponsors SRM Car and Son by clicking the link in the description down below. But let's start where it all started with football. Southampton lad, how did you get into starting for Southampton?
Really, it was not by chance as such, because football was always something I'd had a love and a passion for, and I was playing in the playgrounds and the streets with my friends, but I didn't get spotted by Saints ultimately until I was about 13 years of age. And that was the first organised team I played for, an 11-a-side team that I joined on a local Sunday league.
Yeah.
And it was within that season, the first season playing for that team, that I got spotted by a Southampton scout. There were a number of other clubs that were interested in getting my signature. I think there was Aston Villa, Arsenal, dare I say, Portsmouth, that were interested along with Saints to get my signature as a schoolboy back then. So yeah, that's how I initially broke into the game, really.
Yeah, so breaking through into that Southampton side, what was that like? Obviously, that was your dream, and how did it kind of materialise into a long career at Southampton?
Yeah, I guess you never know what that bigger picture, that longer journey is going to look like, and I just guess as a young man, a young player, just really trying to break through in the first instance, wearing a contract. The next stage for me from a schoolboy was being taken on as an apprentice, and then it's hopefully signing as a pro. They made a decision at 18 years of age, so yeah, being Southampton born and raised, man that was always wanting to play for them. I had some Liverpool connections with my dad's side of the family, and in Liverpool were a side that I followed as a young boy as well. But it was always Saints that I wanted to play for, and thankfully, looking back on my journey through football, it turned out to be a 20-year association with the club, which I'll always be forever grateful for.
Yeah, brilliant. So with the players that you played with at Southampton, could you name just 2 or 3 that just stand out for any reason?
Well, I guess my close friend and teammate, Matt Letizia, we were the same age at the club, albeit a few months apart, and he was, just as we heard him talk today, Jake, he's an absolute genius, and anyone that watched him play through our era would have seen how good he was, how simply brilliant he could be at occasions, and dare I say it, I think he scored a few goals against the Hammers over the years, and I think there was a last day sort of like survival bid that we had, a little bit of a scenario, I think, where we came up to play West Ham and came out on the right side of the result that day, which meant we stayed up for another season in the Premier League. So yeah, Matt would be one that stood out. I guess from a senior player, there were some of the players I played with, but maybe Jimmy Case would be he was almost like the daddy of the team when we sort of came through as youngsters, and he was like the old head, the senior pro that had been there and done it all through a career, and he was almost like the minder of the team when we broke through as young lads.
Yeah. So in terms of Premier League stadiums, when you looked at who you're playing and when you're playing, was there any games or grounds that you went to that you were like?
There were grounds that, from a difficult perspective, where it's like, like whether it be Old Trafford or Anfield, grounds like that, big teams that you're playing against. I guess some of the grounds where it's a little less luxurious might have been Plough Lane. I just think that was part of the whole, sort of mentality and makeup of the Wimbledon side at the time, the crazy gang as they were. They didn't want to make you feel comfortable there, and that was part of their whole persona, I think, as a club, that they made you feel uncomfortable from the moment you stepped off the bus. So. Maybe Plough Lane would have been one of the lesser, more comfortable, luxurious grounds that I played at.
Yeah, I do believe you actually got sent off against West Ham. In terms of Upton Park, the chicken run, did you ever have any experiences of that? And what did you make of playing against West Ham, getting sent off?
I picked up a red card at Upton Park, as you say. I'd come on as a substitute. The game wasn't going particularly well. I don't think I was playing well personally, and I had a mad 5-10 minutes where I was getting frustrated and just clattered into Paolo Fruit Tray and sent him sprawling into the hoardings, I think, and it was right in front of the main stand, and I pretty much just walked off down the tunnel. But one experience which was an amusing one with the chicken run was I remember being a left fullback. I was over that side of the pitch, and he had Julian Dix, who was a great left back for West Ham for many years, and had that real connection with so many of the supporters, didn't he? And obviously Stuart Pearce in later years, you had some great fullbacks down the time that I was playing as well. But being knocked out of play for a Saints throw-in over in front of the chicken run, and the ball had gone out into the crowd, and I remember going over to almost get the ball back again to restart the match. And somebody threw what I thought was the ball back towards me, and it turned out to be a raw chicken that landed at the feet. And somehow somebody who was in the chicken run smuggled in a raw chicken that they were going to throw, which I guess worked out perfectly for them. But took me a little bit by surprise, I must admit. But it was, the humour and the support that they gave from that part of the ground was always one that sort of stood out as a visiting player.
Yeah. So you did, as you explained in your talk just a minute ago, you did start your career as a striker. You then resulted playing as a left back, scoring 1 goal in your career. What was that like? How did it come about? And what was that feeling, just scoring that one? Yeah,
it was long overdue, Jake. I'd gone many seasons and many games without scoring a goal, and it became a little bit of a thing, clearly, with me and the supporters. I had all my teammates scoring lots of goals, and it came eventually at the Dell, thankfully, in a home game against Leicester, and it was worth something as well. It was a game that we won 2-1, so it meant it was, went towards getting the 3 points on the day, which was a good thing. Matt Le Tissier scored the other goal in that game, and Robbie Savage scored a pretty good goal as well for Leicester on that day. So a day that, for a player that only scored one competitive goal, stands out in my memory. But I'm pleased that it came in front of the home supporters, so that a lot of the fans were able to enjoy it as well.
Yeah, definitely. Have you got one moment from your career that you look back at and think that was the best?
The goal was a highlight, clearly, but a tough one really to pinpoint one particular moment. My testimonial night was great. Walking on the pitch with my young children was a special night. I think the fact that I was able to play for 16 years as a pro, doing something that I'd always loved and had a passion for, was, when you look back on it, post-playing career, I count myself very fortunate to have done that at that level and have many, many memories. So maybe difficult to pick just one thing.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much, Francis, for calling. Anything else you'd like to add before we go?
No, just hopefully we'll get some points off the Hammers this season. Then I'm sure that won't go down too well with many viewers, but it's going to be a tough one. West Ham are doing well nowadays, and Moyes has got them going great guns, and so it'll be an interesting season. It'll be a tough one, I think, for Saints, but hopefully we'll do okay against you and pick up a few points enough to stay in the Premier League again this year.
Yeah.
But I hope West Ham do well as well, except against Saints.
Well, you did take a fair few points off of us last season, which was quite annoying. But you've made 6 signings just before we go in the summer transfer window under Ralph Hasenhüttl. Can you see why he's taken it?
Yeah, I like what Ralph does and how he sets the team up and plays. You know, I know he comes in for a little bit of criticism here and there. We've had some heavy defeats under him during his time at the club, but yeah, on the whole, I think it's a positive thing. We've got new owners now. There's been no 6 signings, as you say, Jay. Predominantly young lads, so I think it's going to be interesting to see how they slot in and how they develop. But I think that's the model that Saints go with now. You know, looking at players that can be of a value to us in their time at the club, but potentially with a sell-on value in the future as well, like we've seen with players like Mane, Van Dijk, and guys like that. So yeah, fingers crossed. It's a good season for both Saints and West Ham.
Yeah, brilliant. Francis, thank you very much for coming on.
Cheers, Joe. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll catch you soon. Bye-bye. So there we have it then, a really insightful and interesting interview with a top bloke, Francis Benali. I'd like to give a huge thank you to Francis for coming onto the channel, and I hope all of you at home have enjoyed this video. If you have, drop a like on it, subscribe to West Ham Unofficial if you're new. That's it from me, and without further ado, yeah, thank you for watching. Thanks to Francis Benali, and we'll catch you soon right here on West Ham Unofficial. Bye bye.